Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Life in the Jungle, Season 1, Episode 21, the AFC Championship Game edition of Life in the Jungle. And yes, we still here, y'all. Bengals still here. Who Dey Nation is still here, and y'all ain't getting rid of us as the Bengals upset the number one seed Tennessee Titans 19 to 16 on an Evan McPherson 52-yard field goal. And I'm your boy Coach Cam, and this is I am Pharaoh. And you know what? I'm excited, man. I am so excited. I really can't put it into words. And we were talking about it off the record. I don't even know if it's really hit me yet that we're in the AFC Championship game. Like we are one game away from the Super Bowl. Even after the win, and we was talking off the record about this, I said I felt like I was supposed to be more excited,
hmm
but I had this kind of feeling like we supposed to be here.
You know,
Like
you know
we're
what
good
that's
enough to
called?
be here, so I ain't supposed to be geek, but I am geek. But Joe Burrow gives us this swag, gives the whole city the swag that we are supposed to be here, and that's what I love about it. And you know what? We got our first playoff victory on the road
Yes.
in franchise history. So we bucking all the trends. And the haters can sit back because we in the AFC Championship game, and there's only four teams left. And guess what? The Cincinnati Bengals are one of them. Uh, what are your feelings? After Saturday, how are you feeling, brother Pharaoh? Because you know what, I'm feeling great. Can't nobody knock me down right now.
Yeah, I'm on cloud nine, and I need a better adjective than that because it's a little bit surreal. Anytime you wait for something that you've been waiting for your entire life, when it actually comes, sometimes it can be kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Depending on how old you are at that time. And literally, I remember telling Solomon Wilcox when he came on my other platform, Factual Opinions, before the season started, we were talking, off the air. And I said, you know how many times at the gym when I'm doing cardio and I don't want to do it, and I just need to pick me up and I go back to that 1988 yearbook and watch y'all on your way to the Super Bowl, and just because I just wanted to just feel what it was like for the Bengals to be relevant and one of the best teams, and 34 seconds away from a championship. Well, let me tell you something. We are at the precipice of experiencing something like that again. And what you were referring to earlier, as far as, yeah, the excitement of being there, but almost kind of feeling like we're supposed to, that's called the Joe Burrow effect. That's what that is.
Yep, yep, that is it's the Joey B effect. I had to think about what it was, and it came to me right as I was speaking. I said, "It's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow make us feel like we supposed to be here, and we've been knocking at this door for years." And the scary part is, it's year two of this. It's year two of
Yeah.
this. Year one of Uno. This is scary, scary, scary sight for the rest of the AFC. Um, as we got some visitors on here, what's on Henry Cotto, what's going on? He on time for the show tonight. Who they? Let's get it. Kenny Futch, who they? Bring on KC. Let's
Yeah.
bring it on. It's time. Um, but yeah, I mean, and and it's still a shame that you in the AFC Championship game and you still receiving hate from national pundits. Now, respect to Stephen A. Smith, respect to Michael Irvin and First Take for
Respect.
showing the proper respect to the team and what they have built over these last couple of years. But you get a guy like Mike Greenberg and Corey Brooker said, "I see you. I'm gonna click on your comment, but I listened to it this morning too. Talk about some. It's hard to say the Bengals won that game. Tannehill just gave it to him on a silver platter, and I'm like, listen up. Who had to? Who had to make the plays? Mike Hilton play wasn't no give me. He read the bubble screen. He tipped it to himself and got an interception. That's an earned turnover. The first game of the first game of the game. Jesse Bates hopped in front of that tight end. He earned that pick. I'm
Look at my
tired.
face. That you know
Right.
what that is? That's that old muscle memory from people like Greeny who have been around in the game in the majority of his professional career. The Bengals have been one of the underachieving, punchline joke teams in the league, and they just cannot. Like it's almost like their brain is malfunctioning at this point. Like they are refusing to admit that the tide is changing and they are no longer the Bungles, which is something only us in Hamilton County should be able to say anyway. But honestly, I saw the same thing. There were other people that were still giving credit, like a Max Kellerman, but out of the same breath, he still has to reference a, uh, a Justin Herbert, from the Chargers. Like, wait a minute, this man
Someone
isn't
that's
even
not
in
even
the
in the
playoff.
playoff.
He's not even in the play. Like, can you just stay in the moment? People like Keyshawn have Jay Will, other people, but I think it's finally starting to set in for even them. The guys you mentioned were out in front of it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Rex Ryan, who has been, one of the
Yeah.
Bengals' better supporters, and Joe Burrow in particular, acknowledging him from the start. But it's getting to the point where they can keep picking and talking about other teams. It's 4 teams left, Cam. And if something happens, which I think there's a very good chance of it happening on Sunday, then they really won't have a choice but to acknowledge the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what Corey Booker was saying here. Uh, they still hating on us. Heard Greenberg said Bengals didn't win that game. Titans seat. Exactly what I heard. And that's why I'm like, you know what, man, it's just ridiculous. We just got to keep winning. Just got to keep winning. Not
That's
not
the
worry about
same.
anything else.
That's the same QB that they've had all year that led them to that number one seed. So I really don't want to hear that. As you mentioned, first play of the game, Jesse Bates read that and baited Ryan Tannehill into doing that. So he made a play on the ball. Mike Hilton with I was gonna save it till later. The play of the game that was not a fluke. That really I don't think it was Ryan Tannehill because you have to remember those defensive guys get paid too, and they have to go out and do their job and make plays. And that's exactly what Mike Hilton did. Even the third one. Come on now. You know where I'm going with this. Ryan Tannehill's third interception came because of that boy from the getting his hands in there and
Eli
deflecting the
Apple.
ball. And Logan Wilson, Mr. Johnny on the spot as he always is, intercepting the ball. So I don't want to hear it. Ryan Tannehill, in the words of former NFL head coach Denny Green, he's who we thought he is.
Yep.
I,
And we did.
I didn't,
And guess what? And we did not let him off the hook.
we
Because
didn't.
exactly, exactly. And but what do we say? If it comes down to Ryan Tannehill having to win this football game, we like our chances, right? We like our chances. And what did it come down to? Ryan Tannehill had to make a few plays, and he gave us one. We predicted this last week. It's
I
not
said it.
rocket science.
I said if you take Tannehill and you take Joe Burrow, I'm taking Joe Burrow. And immediately after that interception happened, I knew right then and there. I said, "Oh, we got this." I said, "I know what Joe's getting ready to do." And immediately he goes up top to Uno. You're already in field goal territory. And how about Money McPherson?
He the man. Hey, I'm here to say right now, behind Justin Tucker, give me Money McPherson. There's no other kicker I'm taking. Even Harrison Bucker yesterday missed a couple kicks.
Well, and
Give
speaking,
me Money Mac.
yeah, and speaking of that, well, maybe we see there's a reason why Money McPherson was the only kicker taken in this past year's NFL draft.
Yeah, he's
And I
definitely the truth for
and I'm glad
sure.
we got him. But the best part of that was Joe Burrow enlightening us and letting us know what took place, the verbal exchange between them before he went onto the field. I know you caught that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right when the Bengals get into territory and the offense is running off the field, Money McPherson leans back and kind of goes through his last little warm up kick and he says, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship, and proceeds to go onto the field and levy a Titan sized dagger for a
Mm.
game winning field goal to advance the Cincinnati Bengals to their first AFC Championship game since 1988. And if we're going to go on the whole omen thing and reversing curses, just remember, yes, this was on the road, but the Cincinnati Bengals are 2-0 all time in AFC Championship games. Just throwing that little nugget out there.
There it is. My boy Ken That's one of my closest friends. He lives in Charlotte now. Definitely a Who Dey fan. He was out there in Vegas with me. We supposed to be here. We showed that we supposed to be here. We could play with the top teams, play with the Packers. Uh, really want to let one slip away versus the 49ers.
The Packers.
We won't touch on them.
Okay, go ahead.
But so we've been playing good teams, and playing them tough all year. So nothing should, fear us Bengals fans. And I was talking to my brother about this too. We gotta change our mindset of thinking. We go into every game talk about some, oh, Derek, they have Derrick Henry, he's coming back. Oh, we don't know. No,
I didn't say
we
that.
we one of those teams where people come into town and say, oh, we got the Bengals. Dang, they got Burrow, they got Mixon. Oh, we got to stop Chase. But if we stop Chase, then Higgins, they got a decent defense. Then they got Boy. We
Yeah, you,
one of those
you
teams
forgot
now.
it's levels to this, and
That's what I'm saying. We are
no,
one of those teams
no matter
now.
what you do, you have to pick your poison. Now, I do want to see Tyler Boyd be more involved this coming week. I think that will be something that you'll see automatically because I really, as smart as Andy Reid is, I really can't anticipate them playing one-on-one coverage on Uno like they did last game. I mean, I hope they do because it will be a very similar outcome if they decide to do so. But we have to get Tyler Boyd more involved. But hey, when you got weapons like C.J. Uzama, is becoming a reliable option from the tight end, position that has been all year, and T. Higgins on the outside, and my goodness, this Uno character, man, that we
He different. I
got.
tell you, he different. Dude is different. Now, one thing I will say about one that shocked me, like when he came out and said he ran a 4.3, I didn't believe it. I'm like, I don't remember him being that fast. Like, you know what I mean? But he that fast. He
Here's
that fast.
Now, we got into a debate, about that, off the record because I felt like you and a lot of other people when he ran that 40 time, I felt like that's when the whole Jamar Chase buzz began. Because nobody, including Joe Burrow himself, came out and said, I didn't expect him to run that fast. Because to a certain extent, when you watch Jamar Chase, he does not look that fast, but he's one of those guys that plays at his own pace, and he's very twitchy too. So he
Mhm.
fools you because of his quickness. You may not think that long stride wise he's that fast, but he really is. I saw another game, obviously in the AFC also where we saw Tyreek Hill towards the end of that game cut on some jets, and I said, "Wow." But Uno is a very similar guy because when he gets in the open field, he pulls away from people too.
Yep, absolutely. I'm gonna get to some of these comments, and I'll see y'all. We're gonna definitely get to them. So appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate for sure. We're gonna try to get to all the comments, but since we was kind of on the Money Mac thing for a second, this is a great uh comment from my guy, DB. And I want to say shout out to him, man. Had his baby girl last I want to say last Sunday actually. So it was after a playoff win. We celebrated that he have his baby girl, and then you follow it up with another playoff win. He on cloud right now. So congratulations to my guy. But he makes a great point. Brady had his Vinatieri. Burrow got a money Mac. I mean, because not all the time you're able to go down there and get seven. Sometimes you need to get in field goal range and get three, and you gotta trust your kicker to be able to nail them. So that was I saw that and I thought that was a great point brought up by my boy DB. But now we got to get to, and I get to a comment here, and I think we really have to touch into this, brother Pharaoh. Now I love the Jamar Chase pick. I love everything about it, but our savior Joseph Lee Burrow got sacked 9 times. Now, Pro Football Focus gave 7 of those to the line, 2 of them to Joe for holding on to the ball or not getting out of the pocket, which is fair. I had it at 6 and 3 from what I saw. But Anthony Anderson says, with Joe Burrow getting sacked 9 times, do you feel making a change in the offensive line will be necessary, or do you feel as though trying to keep communication is pretty, every snap could be potentially the answer? So, what do you think about that? Because 9 sacks is a lot of times, and I'm sorry, it's AFC Championship game time, and I saw Hakeem Adeniji, and we don't really, single out guys here on Life in the Jungle. We don't like to do that, but it was very glaring that Hakeem Adeniji was struggling mightily against the Titans. and you have Chris Jones coming in here next week, who's an All Pro defensive tackle. He's going to be lined up over Hakeem Adeniji. Um, what you think about that? Do you think we should see a Jackson Carman signing? How do you feel going into this game? Especially, I mean, let's be honest. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times.
Well, I'm going to answer my boy Anthony's question, and specific one of my longtime friends and one of my former linemen in high school. But I just want to ask before I get into this. I want to answer the question by posing another. Who Dey Nation, is it okay for us to draft a lineman in round one this year? I mean, nobody would give back Uno. I understand that. That's great. That pick worked out, and we have a transcendent player at wide receiver. But I think it's very um, I can't use that word, but it's funny, is what I'll say. That it took Burrow leading us to the promised land, or almost, and getting sacked 9 times for people to realize, yeah, we got a problem. He was sacked the most times in the NFL this year. If you don't want him to end up like Andrew Luck, and if you don't want this magic carpet ride to end before it's supposed to, that has to be the point of emphasis going forward this offseason for the Bengals, be it free agency and or the draft. We have the skill position, guys. You have to protect your investment in Joe Burrow. As far as getting into what adjustments they can make right now, I don't really know that at this point. It's the Final Four. You're in the AFC Championship. You one game away from the Super Bowl. You're not going to bring anybody in off the street that's going to make a difference at this point. And if they are on the street at this point, they're there for a reason. They're not going to be able to digest the entire playbook or anything like that. So you have to stick with who you have. I didn't think Jackson Carman, speaking of, the Bengals second round pick out of Clemson, the local Fairfield, Ohio product, I didn't think he played that bad, during the season when he was starting. Now, I know
Mm,
he had the injury and they kind of just went with the flow, and it does seem like Zach and the offensive staff really do like, Adeniji. And as you mentioned, we don't like to single people out, but he struggled. Also, there were a couple times where, my boy Isaiah Prince from the struggled and didn't even get a hand on somebody. But I mean, that's what you
they
have right
put that on the did they put that on the Adeniji.
yeah, and but that's what you have right now. So what the adjustment is going to have to come from Joe Burrow in these situations, getting rid of the ball quicker, whether that's two wide receivers or getting out of, throwing it away out of bounds, and for Brian Callahan and Zach Taylor to not put him in position like that. But I don't even think play calling was the issue, because there were a few times where he didn't have a chance to react at all. The
Mm.
snap came, he caught it, that was it. So that's a problem. But long story short, I think you have to roll with what you have right now and make adjustments, as needed. Chris Jones, as you mentioned, is an all pro and a hell of a defensive tackle. But as a whole, I do not believe and I do not fear Kansas City's defensive line the way the Titans do, and that brain thrust of Mike Vrabel being a defensive minded, guy, brought that kind of threat that you saw last week. I don't believe that's the same thing you'll see out of Kansas City this week.
No, 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 no. They have a defensive minded head coach who was really going to dig in and try to make things difficult as possible for Joe Burrow. And we knew it wasn't going to be easy going in there in Tennessee and getting that win. But it's not always pretty either. You got to find a way to win them, and that's what he did. I don't know any quarterback was going to take the type of beating that Joe Burrow took and going to throw 100, 350 yards with 70% completion percentage. There's not one quarterback in the league that is doing that. Not Tom Brady, not Aaron Rodgers, not Patrick Mahomes, not anybody that's going to get sacked 9 times. And really, I mean, you can say the interception, but I think the ball hit the damn ground. If you want to be honest with me, but we can give him an interception. But honestly, I feel like he didn't really turn the ball over, getting sacked 9 times, 350 yards, 70 completion percentage. There's not one quarterback in the league that's doing that.
Well,
And that's where we have to realize how special we got it and we got to protect him. So, to answer your question, I think it may be time for offensive lineman round one, but let's see. You never know because free agency comes People gonna want to play with Joe now. This ain't just the same old Bengals team that's just gonna win a division and then fizzle out. This is a team that's made it to the AFC Championship game now. We have a young quarterback, we have a young receiver, we have a young nucleus. There's going to be veterans that want to play for us. So the offseason would be very interesting to see what we could do.
Right.
Uh,
And while I agree on that one, I do believe that the Titans guy had possession because it did move, and they always say the ball can hit the ground as long as you have already established possession and it doesn't, move and there wasn't a bobble involved with it. But you know me, we talked off the record. I put that more on Samaje P. Ryan than I do Joe or the defender actually making a play. And again, I don't want to single Samaje P. Ryan, out, but I question, his presence in the game at that point anyway, particularly when you had already received both offensively and special teams wise a boost from the rookie Chris Evans, from that team up north who has stepped in and really, added some value as a second running back, in the game. So, it's just one of those things that you have to manage going forward for the rest of this season. But I really think it should be, an emphasis this off season more so than anything.
And now we about to tag into these comments, man, because it's rocking in here today. And like I say, I really appreciate it for sure. Going back to the Bengals defense, there it said Bengals been forcing turnovers all year. It was a point of emphasis coming in the season with the staff, right? They was claiming we need more turnovers, we need the ball more. So that was awesome. Mr. Lawrence in the house said, "Win, baby, win. That's all that matters."
Yep.
Uh,
Survive in advance.
Survive in advance. That's what it is. AI LeBron, who they? Let's see here. We got Matt Wallace. Uh, says this has to be a Joe Mixon game. Catching balls out of the backfield and getting uh, 3 yards per carry is crucial. I would like a little bit more than that, but needed to open up the passing game. People talk about our passing game not taking off yet, and getting 28 rolling would be huge. I'm gonna be honest, like yeah, we want Joe Mixon to run effectively. We want him to be efficient, but this is a 9 versus 15 game, and let's not get it twisted. It's a Burrow versus Mahomes game, and Burrow's gonna have to be on look across and get that kind of that Jordan mentality across from him and say, hey, I ain't gonna lose. And that's what type of day it's gonna be. Now, do we need Joe Mixon to run the ball effectively? Absolutely, you're darn right. But let's not get this twisted. This is gonna be another 9 versus 15 game.
I mean, it may ultimately come down to that, which I believe it will also, because you saw that this past week in their game against Jason Allen. That was one of the better quarterback duels that I can remember in a long time in playoff football. In fact, I went back to the old 98 divisional game between the Packers and the 49ers with Brett Favre and Steve Young. Kind of reminded me of that classic of a duel between them. But Joe is able to rise to the occasion like he did, when these teams played a few weeks ago. But that is a good point. I do want more than 3 yards in a cloud of dust from Joe Mixon, and it would open things up and make things a lot easier. And we can't forget how much of a playmaker he is himself. I thought one of the turning points in the game, uh, speaking of the Bengals and the Titans, was when Joe Mixon got going a little bit in the second half, and particularly that first drive punching it in. And that was a wicked jump cut, by the way, that he made cutting back
Mhm.
to daylight and getting in the end zone. But establishing Joe, I really do think opened things up because he wasn't getting a lot of traction early in the game. And I do like the fact that Zach didn't go away from it. And when we got up, he was trying to shorten the game in the second half with some rushing. So let's not forget that Joe Mixon is an elite playmaker also.
Yep, absolutely. And Henry Colo made a comment. We was talking about the analyst Kay Adams from NFL Network. Definitely rock with us. Yes, she does. Hey, Kay Adams on Twitter. She definitely rocks with us and supports us. Austin Thompson, appreciate you. I've been seeing you comment. Logan Wilson showed up Hughes that game. Also, DJ Reader, yes. And I'm
DJ
glad
Reed.
I wanted to touch this comment. I just had to get to it. DJ Reader set the tone. First real drive after the pick. They handed the ball off to Derrick Henry, and he stuffed him for a loss of two. You heard the hit through the TV, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Set the tone, let him know we gonna hit. Regard, we gonna hit him. We gonna hit him. And DJ Reader, and what was so funny is when we signed DJ Reader last year, and I looked up his stuff and looked up his PFF grade. I'm like, oh, he's a good nose tackle. Like, okay, we paid him as the top nose tackle. I'm like, okay, this is legit. This will help us a lot, And I'm talking it up to other, to casuals, who may not be into, defensive line play. Oh, who is he? He only got 2 sacks. He ain't nobody. I said he ain't there for that. I say he there to stop and shore up this run game. You pay DJ Reader for games like Saturday. That's what you pay DJ Reader for. Now,
Absolutely.
now I will give some credit what Corey Brooker said here, and I'm going to comment off of that. Uh, the Titans OC maybe need to be fired because I agree because Deontay Foreman was running hard.
He
He had
was.
he was the one that had the pop in his legs. But what did we say? They gonna
I didn't
rush.
expect Derrick Henry to come
We
back
didn't expect it. We didn't
after
expect him to
not
be Derrick
playing
Henry of old.
since Halloween with 5 plates in his foot. Wouldn't have made it through the airport if the game was on the road. And come back and be. Now, I didn't think Derrick Henry looked bad, but you have to remember, even in the game where the Bengals played the Titans last year with a shell of the defense that they have now, yeah, he had 100 yards by the end of the game, but it was a very pedestrian, nothing flashy about it, not dominating, type feel. And like you said, DJ Reader set the tone from the start. And even there was a play in the second half, which I know will go unnoticed by a lot of people, where Foreman, as you said, was getting going, and even Derrick Henry has started to get a little traction in the second half. And Logan Wilson shot into that hole at linebacker
Hmm.
and shut him down after like a yard gain, and you heard it. It reminded me of my style of football from the 80s and 90s that you always tell me is gone off the record. And and I said, okay, my boys are ready to play. They're not going to let this turn into a getting drug up and down the field thing. And there were a couple plays like that. And another big one was that 4th and 1.
Oh, and and, and we had a big Tyler Shelvin signing.
We did.
He and on that fourth down, you got him, Reader right there.
It
Man, they
wasn't
tried to
even
block it. They
close.
ain't move.
It
They ain't
wasn't even
move.
close. And we were worried about that with Ogunjobi being out of the game. But hats off to Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, and the staff for keeping a Tyler, Shelvin on the roster, inserting him in this game and that it was honestly perfect for what the Titans do to have him ready for this situation. So to be able to use depth, depth is always good when you don't have to use it, but when you do have to use it and for it to actually come through, games like that is when you need it.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see here. We got the comment here. I'm gonna go to um Austin Thompson here. He said, I think we drafted Olaman and signed a few good ones with another solid cornerback. I like that because we got to shore up the line. But like right now, and I see the comments there. We got heavy on drafting linemen, free agency, and things like that.
Don't
I
say that, Cam.
I want to stay in the moment. I want to stay in the moment. I want to stay in
Okay.
20. I want to stay this year, 2021, 2022. Um, because we got a Super Bowl to get to, y'all.
Yeah, we're not done.
We are not done. And what Burrow said, forget all this why not us stuff. It is us. It
Right.
is us. And that's how we got to start thinking. And but like you said, the defense, man, and what killed me was I heard all week, we a finesse team. We a finesse. We ain't got no killers. We ain't got no hard hitters. No nothing like that. But we showed up to play, and both teams, was hitting. Both teams was playing well on defense, and it was one of those good old remind you of I'm gonna go AFC Central matchups with the
Yes. Yeah.
Tennessee Oilers. That's what it reminds you of. It
Love
reminds you of
that.
one of those old Tennessee Cincinnati games, man, and it was definitely something of the throwback variety, and it was good to watch. We got someone new here, Brian McHugh. Said KC would be a completely different game, closer to what we saw at PBS. I agree with that. That's what type of game we'll see. I'm not worried about Joe getting sacked 9 times again. Tennessee, Did a lot of crazy stuff up front as far as stunting. That's what they do. You just can't have, a team that normally don't stunt just throw it in the week and say, I want you stunting and doing this and twist and all that. That's not how it works. That's not how Kansas City play. Now I know Kansas City is stubborn at times, and if they want to single up Uno again, they can
Please be
get
stubborn.
200 dropped on their head again.
Please be stubborn.
You know what I mean? And they are a stubborn type, and and we have to um make and it could be potential that the Honey Badger not play. He took a shot to the head for concussion. Now we understand they'll probably clear him. We get that. I understand that. But the shot he took to the head was no joke. A knee to the head is nothing to play with.
Did he
So
play in the game at Cincinnati earlier
he
in the year?
sure did. He was out there.
Because we have a mutual follower and guy that we both speak to off the record, and Mr. Antonio the Strider.
Oh yeah, yeah, hold on. We got Antonio Strader right here now. So I'm gonna let you add on to it. We got Antonio here. Hold on. He talking about some. We underestimating the KC pass rush. The pass coverage boo boo, but Burrow can run. But can Burrow run and move as effective as Allen? Look, the first time when we played him, Burrow got sacked 3 or 4 times. But the thing is with Burrow gotta learn how to throw it away too. We know that. We've talked about this on the show. However, that secondary can't hold long enough for them to even get there. If they're gonna play man, it's over for
Listen,
whoever.
they struggle with Diggs and
No,
old Cole
Gabriel Davis.
and an old Cole Beasley. Did he even play yesterday?
Yeah, he played.
Okay, and
Gabe,
Emmanuel Sanders is apparently still in the league.
yep,
saw an Emmanuel Sanders, and that's no slight to any of those guys, especially guys like him that have been doing it for a long time.
and Diggs. I
But
respect Diggs.
that's not Uno. That's not Tyler Boyd. That's not T Higgins. Okay, that's not Joe Mixon out of the backfield if you ignore him. Like I said, I got a lot of respect for Andy Reid, and I know that the players do too. That played for him, even guys that haven't around the league, love Andy Reid. He's a player's coach, and he's future Hall of Famer. I have to think that he's not going to single cover Uno again. But I mean, even if you don't, good luck. So me and Antonio usually agree on that OH thing, but I think he's giving Kansas City a little bit too much credit.
There he is, and he said that route by Davis was nice. It was nice. Don't get me wrong, but my thing is this: we haven't heard of Gabriel Davis all year. Let's not act like Gabriel Davis is all of a sudden an all-pro receiver. He's not. He's not. So they gonna have, basically all I'm saying is this: don't disrespect the Bengals. All I keep hearing is we gotta stop them. We this, that, and the third. They
How are they
gotta
going to
stop
stop
us
us?
too.
How are they going
They
to stop
gotta
us?
stop. Yeah, they gotta stop us too. That's all I'm asking. We in the AFC Championship game. Put some respect on us, man. I'm tired
They
of the
didn't stop
disrespect.
it last time. Now I tell you, the only thing I'm still worried about from a schematic standpoint and matchups and everything, we have struggled defensively covering teams that have elite tight ends. Now you make the argument that Travis Kelsey is probably still 1A, 1B at worst on most lists as far as tight ends, in the league. And he certainly showed up for them at the end of that game to not only get the game to overtime with that seam route that he ran that the future Hall of Famer known as Pat Mahomes hit him with, and then also to close it out, obviously, in overtime, with the touchdown. So he's going to be a problem just like he was, the first game. I think we did a good job on Tyreek Hill, about as good a job as you can do. But switching it back to the other side of the ball, I do not fear Kansas City's secondary, especially against our wide receivers. And that is what we exploited the last time. I just don't know how that's going to be any different. I don't know his name, but number 35 for Kansas City, he's going to get torched. Just like he got torched with Buffalo yesterday, he's going to get torched again for whoever he's matched up against. And I do believe and have enough faith in Zach that he's going to play around and move guys around. And that's the luxury we have with our wide receivers is you can move them around. We don't have stationary guys that have to play the X, has to play the Z. All of them are interchangeable, can move in the slot, and they're going to take advantage of those matchups out there. So Honey Badger or not, and again, this ain't '09. I don't think he's the same Honey Badger from LSU. They have to stop us also.
Yep, that's all I'm saying. They got to stop us too. He said, I feel like Joe needs to let go of the ball more quick, audible. Now, I watched, some of the, the film and the tape. There was a lot of times where Joe could have hit the flat, like you know what I mean. But we
What
gotta try
about
to
the
get
times that I clearly saw where Joe had no time to react?
right. That was about six of those sacks where Joe had zero time whatsoever.
Guys
So
coming untouched is unacceptable, and that's not something that Audible or anything else is going to do anything about. So it's up to Coach Pollock to lick the wounds and get that taken care of with Adeniji and Isaiah Prince and whatever audibles need to take place. But I still think that's more of footwork and cohesiveness up front with the offensive line to make sure guys aren't coming through untouched like that.
yep, yep. And that's about that route by Uno was nice to lead to the field goal for Money Mac. Bullock would have never made that. I'm so grateful we have McPherson. And there's two things I want to comment there because the route by Uno was slick. When we talk about Davis route, Uno route was real nasty. And two, on McPherson Bullock, that's the difference. That was almost the difference of the game. Remember, it was 3rd and 1 at the 34, and they ended up running a read option. We stuffed them, and then we stuffed them on the 4th and 1. They didn't have faith in Big Fat Randy to go out there and kick that field goal.
I was wondering if you were gonna call him Fat Randy like you usually do.
Yeah, and my mom mentioned it too. Shout out to my mom. She texted me. She was like, "You know what the difference was? We could try out Evan McPherson for 52 yarders, 54 yarders, and they were scared to trot Randy out there for those same kicks. That's a
Yeah, 'cause
difference."
he might pull a hammy.
Right, might hold the wrong hamstring at that, but we not gonna go there. We not gonna go back and relive that terrible moment. But that's the difference, and just upgrading that spot. And I've been saying it all year. When you can cross the 40 and get three, that is huge, especially when it comes January, where you're trying, where every possession is a grind, and you may need three, and you can cross the 40 and get it. That's huge, and that was the difference, really. They didn't trust, Randy Bullock to make those kicks, and we stuffed them on 4th and 1, and they ended up getting nothing.
One more difference also that has been alluded to by some analysts and fellow colleagues, throughout the day. I don't think the Titans completely trusted Ryan Tannehill in certain situations, the way where we could put Joe out there and we knew it was coming. I didn't know whether it was going to be T. Higgins or Uzama that caught it or Uno, but it didn't matter because we had complete trust in Joe to make the right decision when he went out there.
Yeah, that's true. And let me bring up my TS Bulls brother Kareem Muhammad. Says prayers goes out to the Bears. This is gonna be tough. Now I know Kareem always been a hard critic of the Cincinnati Bengals, but we got number 9, man. And with 9, you got hope. You got hope. I understand they're hosting their 4th straight AFC Championship, but hey, why not us? Why can't we go in there and knock them off? We got the weapons, and just like they do.
Let me respond to brother Kareem, who I love and grew up with, and detest his TS Bulls allegiance as well as him being a fan of that team up north. He's lucky I love him, but anyway, um, all that's great and it is true, and I'm not taking any of that away from Kansas City. I mean, it's literally their 4th straight AFC Championship game. Been to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Been there, done it. Cannot replace the talent and the as we say about Joe Burrow, the intangibles of a Patrick Mahomes. The talent of a Travis Kelsey and that team knowing how to get it done. Eric Bieniemy, who I hope gets a head coaching job this offseason, being the offensive coordinator and very involved in their game plan. And former Bengals running back during his playing days. I get all that. But by the same token, you realize there were a lot of things against the Bengals starting this postseason. Let's start with the whole fact that they hadn't won a playoff game in 31 years, and the last 7 times lost in the wild card round. And these guys didn't give a you know what about that. Went out and took care of business. Me and Coach Cam were on site to take in the joyous occasion. Then we're playing the number 1 seeded Tennessee Titans. All the Bengals, yeah, they won last week, but they've never won a road playoff game in franchise history. Okay, well, let's mark that off. These guys don't care about any of that, and they're not shaking and quivering at the tomahawk logo on the helmet or Patrick Mahomes or any of that. I think Pat Mahomes even knew that the Bengals were up to the task. They've been showing that video lately that we alluded to, last week about him tapping Joe Burrow, saying, "See you in the playoffs." I think he knew and was looking across the field because it takes one to know one.
There
And
it is.
he knew he was looking at a killer also, and he might potentially have to go up against this young man also. So no matter who you're rooting for or critic, the Bengals are equally up to the task, and it's up to, as you said, number 9 or number 15 to deliver their team to the promised land.
Yep, yep, absolutely. We got T Higgins here. Excuse me, we got Bob. Stoffel says T Higgins will go off this time because I think KC will double chase. Joe Burrow will find the open guy. Yeah, he will. Teams been trying to double chase. I mean, let's not act like teams ain't been trying.
Well, I saw the Raiders basically single covering him, but trying to leave somebody over top. So they've been trying things, as you said, and it looked like most of yesterday the Titans were kind of doing the same thing.
Underneath game.
Yeah, maybe a soft man, not completely off of him, but just trying to stop the big play. But what he's so adept at and great at is after the catch and making people miss. So he's just as dangerous with his route running as he is even on the quick short stuff. But that was another point that I wanted to be counterintuitive with. That's fine and get T Higgins involved, but as I mentioned earlier, I don't think we can beat Kansas City if Tyler Boyd has another pedestrian game like he had against the Titans. I do think he needs to be really involved in this game plan for a number of reasons.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to see Tyler Boyd sighting for sure. We got another comment here that says we have a young group of hungry animals in the making. Just wait on it. Hey, I do think we're young, hungry. Don't know any better. I think that's a good thing. And I think this is going to be a great game against the Chiefs. I think it'll be um, I think it'll be one of those nip and tuck, one of those games like at PBS. We can't get too high, we can't get too low. They're gonna make plays, we gonna make plays, and it may be who had the ball last. It may be who defense make a stop last. Who knows? But this is what playoff football is about. And what's so fun, man, is like wild card weekend. We not used to getting past that, but the real playoffs start in the divisionals. Like,
Mhm.
that's when it really that's where you see three home teams lose, both one seed. Like this is where it really go down at. So to be a part of it and to experience it with my own two eyes, surreal for me still, but I'm living in the moment and I'm loving every minute of it. Minute of it. We have Miss Lawrence here. I skipped over a comment. I didn't mean to, but we have defense wins championships, and they certainly won this second round of the playoff game for us. Absolutely. Defense, and it's not enough being said. We can talk about Joey B being gritty and all that, but time after time again, that defense got stop after stop after stop. And if you really take away that turnover, I'm not so sure they scored there. You know what I mean? So respect to the guy, some of the guys that we added. And I know Awuzie had a tough game. It was really his first game where he struggled a little bit against AJ Brown, but that's where you have Eli Apple, credit to him, made plays. Mike Hilton made plays, and Mike Hilton was another signing too. I think next to Reader, that's probably outside of Hendrickson. We know Hendrickson was definitely special and definitely a a defensive, type of playmaker, and someone that could change
I don't
how the
think
defense
most
look.
people paid a lot of attention to that Hilton sighting, but
But Mike Hilton,
yeah, I did because
whoa,
I knew Pittsburgh wanted him back, but they didn't want to give him the money that he felt like he, deserved, and that's why he came across the division to us. But that was a great point, Mama, because as I mentioned at the beginning, I still feel like the play of the game, regardless of Money Mac nailing that, which was clutch, some of the other things that took place, was Mike Hilton, because those are momentum, switching plays that take place during the course of a game. Zach mentioned that after the game, whether they got three after that or they got a touchdown, you're looking at a completely different game. One or two things change. That's a different outcome. To get nothing, now I would have liked for the Bengals to capitalize off that. We didn't, but just another red zone trip where they were that close and were honestly trying to steal the momentum, come out with nothing. That was huge, and he could have just batted it down. But to have the wherewithal to locate the ball, that's the old tip drill that all us old defensive backs, did. Come in and play like that was awesome. Now I did see Mike Hilton on social media afterwards. People were clowning him about getting caught by Ryan.
yeah, man.
And he said, "Man, look at the previous play, man. I was gassed. That's the only reason I got caught, man." So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that that's why he got caught. But you mentioned the Woozier also. I wanted to speak on that before I forgot. I don't know that he had a bad game, but one of the things that I was slightly worried about, although I didn't believe Julio Jones was the same player that he once was, and AJ Brown, they were still two big wide receivers that on a given play can win one-on-one matchups and jump ball situations. And honestly, even that touchdown that he got on a Woozier, that was probably the best damn ball that Ryan Tannehill threw the entire game. I mean, it was perfect location. So I don't know that it was bad defense or coverage. It just made a play.
I give you that. I give you that. I give you that. So we talked about plays of the game. We talked about what went throughout the game there. Before we go to KC and really dive into that, we've been talking about a little bit of everything, to be honest. Normally we try to go from the previous game into the next, but it's been all over the place. We just excited, and there's honestly no kind of order to this show today. But game balls, offense,
Woo!
defense.
Who went first last time?
I think I went first last time.
Oh, you went first last time.
Yeah.
Whew. Um, man. Okay, well, starting out on defense, I think I'm going to give. Mm, it's so hard, man, because there were
Yeah.
so many people that made plays, but I think I'm gonna go DJ Reader
Set the tone.
for setting the tone and not allowing the Titans to do what they do best from the start and get the crowd into it and change the dynamic of the game and time of possession and things that could have came back to haunt the Bengals, letting the Titans know that no, you're gonna have to mix it up and you're gonna have to let Ryan Tannehill attempt to beat us because you're not running on us like that. And he was used to playing the Titans coming over from Houston, being in that division. So he had no fear. He's matched up against Derrick Henry before. I think Big DJ Reader set the tone. I'm sure he was getting chipped and double teamed throughout the game, especially with Ogunjobi not in there. But to still be a force and to hold down the fort up front, he's going to get my game ball on defense. Offensively, you know what? I'm gonna do it again because I don't care. I don't care if people say, "Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool Aid at this point." I am giving the game ball to Jackpot Joey.
Jackpot Julia.
Because he's just not gonna make that mistake. No moment is too big for him. He thrives on stuff like this, and I just think that his calmness, his coolness, his confidence, and his cockiness permeates throughout the entire locker room and trickles down to everybody, even kickers like Money Matt. So I'm giving it to Joe Burrow.
That's awesome. Those awesome game balls. On the defense end, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go. I got a cold game ball. I got a cold game ball. I normally don't do this, but I gotta give it to two people.
Jesse
One
Bates.
Mike. One Mike Hilton.
Okay, Mike Hilton.
One Mike Hilton because I felt like the game was turning.
Hmm.
It was turning for the worse, and I'm sitting back. I'm like, no, 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 no. And it kind of put everything on hold for a minute. That pick, and it was clutch, and it was what we needed. And two, I gotta give it to Jesse Bates, yo. I've been hard on Jesse Bates because
Yes,
I,
you
I
have.
look at I look at but no, because I look at him as an all pro type of player. That's how I look at him. Now, if it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't grade him as hard. But when you come through and I know what type of ball you can play, and I've seen you play it, and you've been underachieving this year. But now he's got his money's worth. Now he's earned his money in this playoff. But back to back games, he has been had his hand and his stamp on it. So give me Jesse Bates and give me Mike Hilton on the defensive game balls, and on offense, you gotta give it to Joe Burrow. No one is getting beat. Like I said earlier in the show, you are not going to find another quarterback in this league that's gonna get sacked 9 times and deliver strike after strike after strike. You're not gonna find it. There's no one in the league like that. There's no one. Because you
Jackpot Joey.
think about it, even when Tom Brady, what's the goal? Hit him, hit him, hit him. Eventually he'll fall, right? Most quarterback, hit him, hit him, hit him, get to him. They hit Joe Burrow, and he just get up. He ain't gonna make the next throw.
Well, and we saw
So,
that this weekend because they got to Tom Brady, even busted his little lip, and he wound up
and he
getting
got a flag because he was pounding the
getting
crowd
himself
out.
for unsportsmanlike conduct for him cussing at the refs and doing what he normally does and has done his entire career. So nothing new there with Tom Brady and his origin from that team up north. But anyway, no, listen, I think that Jackpot Joey um, easily gets the game ball on offense. But there were other guys. I mean, you could give it to Jamar Chase for getting 100 yards receiving again. Joe Mixon again for helping close out the game in the second half. T. Higgins was a monster, and again another unsung guy. I really think that C.J. Uzama is just one of those glue guys, for
Mhm.
this team, not just on the field, but even in the locker room. Man, this guy's a leader.
Yep.
And I'm really glad that he's still, here. He's one of those guys that kind of reminds you like a Witt or a Willie Anderson, guys like that just, kept the locker room in order. So there was a lot of game balls that could have went around. But, I'm proud of my guys. And like you mentioned, we jumped around because we're so excited. We are in uncharted territory. We were literally, infants and toddlers and preschoolers the last time any of this, came about for our Bengals. So we're in new territory.
Yeah, we definitely definitely hit new territory, but I'm liking this territory that we're at. Like I said, but it just goes to show, maybe some of those teams that we thought that were really good in the past, 2015, you know, let's just say the Andy era, and 05, 09, maybe this wasn't as tight as a group. You could be so talented in this league. You can win a whole bunch of regular season games in this league, but when the back up against the wall, like your quarterback maybe getting sacked 9 times, you have a drop ball that ends up to a pick. You think everything is going bad against you. That's where you need all 53 guys to be on one accord. Those are the type of things that get you over the hump as a team. And I think we finally got that now as a complete locker room. You see Jamar Chase catch a pass and running for 50 yards. You see Mike Hilton running down there with him. You see the defense catch a pick. You see the offense right up there with them. So it's one of those things where they root for each other. They really want each other to do well. That spills throughout the locker room, and it carries on to the field when times get hard and you think maybe we don't have it. You pull together and you're able to give that little extra umph to get you over the hump. So that's huge. Uh, Kansas City, obviously, and there was a good question. I saved it because obviously we can both talk about it. Uh, what's the point of attack against KC? How are we going to pull off this victory? And what do the Bengals have to do to have us smiling on Championship Sunday? and saying our Bengals are headed to the Super Bowl? What
Uh,
needs to take place?
First of all, don't say that right now and get me all emotional
I had to say it one
and
time.
tearing up and stuff. I want to stay in the moment, but um, we had one of our followers mention it earlier. Honestly, I'm going to go back to this. I would like to see Joe Mixon um, from the beginning set the tone. We get the rap of being a finesse team, but I've seen the Bengals grit down at times, and I just believe offensively, our offensive unit is better than the Kansas City's defense here. I do wholeheartedly believe that, and I believe that if we can get Joe Mixon going early and get him to skipping and making some of those jump cuts and make Kansas City be on their heels and adjust to us, there are no limits to the type of downfield opportunities that are going to be ready, open, and available to our group of wide receivers. So I would love to see us, attack, get them back on their heels so they don't get any brave ideas and start blitzing us like Tennessee did and establish, Joe Mixon from the start. So that's that side of the ball offensively. Defensively, I just feel like the Bengals have to play ball. I don't feel like they have to have anybody on that side of the ball have the game of their life. I think they can stay within the system and what Sweet Lou has had them doing all year. And you do have to keep an eye on that Tyreek Hill moving around because Andy Reid is very creative. He's gonna have him all over the field. I even saw him in the backfield a couple plays this past game. So be aware of where Mr. Tyreek Hill is and play your game. And I think the Bengals can shock the world and head to their first Super Bowl since 1988.
There it is. This is a huge one for me. Keep Mahomes in the pocket. Keep Mahomes in the pocket. I think that's a huge thing because yesterday they was getting to him, but once he's able to get out the pocket, he turns those sacks into 6, 7 yard gains or get
He's
out the
not.
pocket, throw
He's
one of
not.
those cross body throws for 20. You got to keep him in the pocket.
But is he gonna do that against Cincinnati though? And this is no disrespect to Buffalo, but like Oliver up front, and it's not the same as Cincinnati's defense
Well, the thing is, what's so funny because the Bills had the number one ranked defense, I believe, coming in, or number two. But
statistically.
sometimes matchups are everything. You know, you can't take, and that's why everybody was like, well, what the Bills had? Do you see what they did to the Bills defense? I say, look, man, I'm like, and it's sad. What I don't understand. Hold on, I gotta go on a little tangent real quick. And what's so sad is it's football coaches telling me this. If anybody, y'all should know different game calls for different circumstances, different matchups calls for different circumstances. Y'all
Styles
know you
fight.
can't carry that into the next game
Styles make fights.
because our goal, the first game was to keep Mahomes in the pocket. He didn't scramble a whole bunch. We kept him in the pocket. We was gonna try to, play on the back end. That's what happened. We're not gonna let Mahomes run for 60 yards and throw for 350 on us. That's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. He gonna have to throw for 400 and beat us, or he gonna be running for his life. Either one, but it's not gonna be both. But just to kind of piggyback off of Joey Wilder, there saying keeping Mahomes in the pocket. Yes, I think that's a big key of keeping Mahomes in the pocket. I think that's huge on defense. And once again, I'm gonna say it. We didn't capitalize on it. Mahomes gives you 2 to 3 balls a game where you can pick off. You have to intercept them. Now, last game, I think it was Eli Apple dropped one, and I think somebody else dropped one. Our last meeting in week 17. Catch him this time. Get there because he's gonna give you a few balls where it's gonna be 50-50, and you got a chance to make a play. You got to make a play on them. That's
Oh,
that. Go ahead.
and I'm sorry, Coach. Can I listen? And something else before I forget. You mentioned those 50-50 situations. Something we have to do a lot better job that I do want to mention as a key. I saw it both in the Oakland game and this week with Tennessee. When we do get the ball into the red zone, particularly against a team like Kansas City that is going to put up points and be lighting up the scoreboard also, we have to score touchdowns. We cannot trade field goals for touchdowns, or it's going to be a long day with that 100,000 plus in Arrowhead.
Yep. Absolutely, and it will be. And don't get me right that Arrowhead is definitely a tough place to play. Crowd noise that definitely don't help our offensive line. So I'm hoping in practice something could be implemented, a silent count or something to the point where it can help the offensive line protect a little bit better. Because in road playoff games it gets very loud, and that affects the offensive line getting off the ball as well. So we'll see all into that, but you know what? One thing we like I say, the Cincinnati fans, don't let these haters distract us. Don't let these haters knock us off our focus. The task is at hand. We have a chance to play for a Super Bowl, and it's probably a great chance that the person you talking to hating on you, they team probably at home. So let's just stay focused, or keep our eyes on the prize and get ready to punch our ticket this week.
The team is probably at home, and there's a bunch of teams that are getting ready to go undergo major changes at the quarterback position, which may
Hmm.
alter the course of their franchise's trajectory going forward as we usher in this new era led by people like Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes and Jason Allen and Herbert and the new quarterbacks of this era. So that's why a lot of them are hating. I won't mention the specific teams. I'm sure you can get my drift on where I'm going with that, because there are a few that definitely will have different signal callers next year. But listen, live in the moment. This is historic. Whether you a Bengals fan that can remember the last time that we was at this, enjoy it, or it's first time people like us and everybody under us, this is something to enjoy. The great Dan Marino, he made the Super Bowl his rookie year, and he thought, man, this is gonna be easy, and never made it back again. Enjoy this moment because you never know what's going to happen. Don't take for granted that we got such a young, talented team. Nothing is promised. Enjoy it, and I'm sure the Bengals are focused and ready to do as good a job as they can do on that note also. So I think I went first last week. Brother Cam, AFC Championship game. On the line is a trip to the Super Bowl out of LA to permanently alter the course of Cincinnati Bengals history and potentially deliver this city its first major sports championship since 1990, when the Cincinnati Reds last won the World Series. We got to take it one game at a time, and it starts with taking care of business on the road in Kansas City. I need to know Coach Cam's score in the AFC Championship and who he's got winning.
Hey, like I say, I'm feeling great. I have no reason to feel like my team will lose. Um, I just think it's time. I think it's time for something new. I think we're gonna be the new kids on the block that kind of crash the party. Um, and we have something special here in Cincinnati. People don't have to admit it. They don't have to admit it if you don't want. That's fine. But we know we got something special. Uh, I got the Bengals winning this football game. I really do. And this is not me just talking out the side of my neck. I really feel like we're gonna win this game. I have 34-28 in
Ooh,
overtime.
overtime. Now I want the overtime.
I don't want it. I ain't say I want it
You
now. This
give me
is
a
a
heart attack,
prediction.
man. You gonna give me a heart attack.
This is a prediction now. I'm not saying I want over. I don't want it. But look, this is what's gonna happen. Repeat of last week, but guess what? We get the coin toss, and Patrick Mahomes don't get to touch the ball. That's what's gonna happen. We win. Bengals go to the Super Bowl, 34-28. OT. Joey B lead us down there. 9-1 connection. 4-6 to end the game. 34-28 Bengals. That's how I'm rolling with it. We're headed to the Super Bowl, people.
Nice. I would love it. Just pass me the aspirin bottle if it goes to overtime. Let's see. Well, I said long ago, if we got that first one out of the way, obviously in advance against Oakland, that I wasn't picking against my beloved Bengals and Joe Burrow, the rest of the way, no matter who we matched up against. It's time. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals advancing 38-31 over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm, that's it, huh?
Yeah, I'm not adding nothing else to it. 38-31, Cincinnati Bengals.
There it is. 38-31 for my boy Pharaoh. I got 34-28 in OT because I feel it's gonna be epic. I feel you know how the Bengals just can't win the game. They gotta make us sweat. They gotta make a hard jump out our chest. That's just what it is. That's how
Yeah,
Cincinnati sports is. That's how Ohio sports is in general. That's how they gonna make you
but
sweat.
But we've now turned the page, as you see with Joey B. They make us sweat, but usually more often than not, we come out on top of these situations now. And we know we got people like Money Mac that can deliver in the clutch if we set him up in the right opportunity. And these guys are young, they're hungry, they don't know any better. So I'm not feeling any apprehension. They've already beaten this team. Yes, the playoffs are a different animal. Yes, KC's coming in with just as much talent and brain thrust from the coaching staff and the experience of having been there, done that. But this team isn't scared, and they have no reason to be. They play with every team that they matched up with. Was supposed to be elite this year, be it Green Bay, San Francisco still in this thing. Played them to an overtime game, which we should have won. Bengals have every opportunity and reason to go into this game confident and thinking that they have the ability to win a world championship, which I know they do.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? It is. It's time. It's here. It's an exciting time to be a Cincinnati sports fan. Where everything's going on. You had the great University of Cincinnati Bearcats who made it to the college football playoff. You got the Bengals that's been AFC North champions now in the AFC title game. So it's something, good football is happening
You
in
left one
Cincinnati
out,
right now.
man.
What you say? What you say?
You left one out.
Who I leave out?
Your state university
Oh no,
Your
I'm talking
state
about
university still finished in the top 10 and won the Rose Bowl. So you're right. There's a lot going on great in the state of Ohio.
except for those Browns. But hey, listen up. Uh, but listen up. That's it on Life in the Jungle. Coach Cam, I am Pharaoh. Both of us got us clinching the AFC championship and going to the Super Bowl. Let's get it. And we'll be back next week, win or lose. Life in the Jungle. Hopefully, it ain't the last one because we would love to have 2 weeks of the Super Bowl preview. That would be so lit here for Life in the Jungle. But until next time, we out.